Sorry about that, babe.
Alright guys, we're back with another video. This time we're going to be doing a 2022, towards the end of the year, game room update video. This is one that's been kind of requested here and there by a few people, so I figured I would oblige. I'm not going to go over everything with insane detail. There's my cat Belmont. In the old video, Razy was roaming around, but as you guys know, he is no longer with us, so now we have Belmont ruling the roost. Taking a look here at various posters that came with video games, mostly SNES. Over there we have my Nintendo Power poster wall, as well as my gaming setup that I use for recording on YouTube and streaming. Got the great Ryu Ronin there on Twitch, and was watching Thursday Night Football, sort of, kind of. Terrible matchup between the Falcons and Panthers. But yeah, this has been kind of like a work in progress since I moved into this house. I did a lot of renovations to this room. There's Razy's paw print. I did a lot of renovations to this room, including all this stuff you're seeing here in the last 2 years. These are, like I said, the things that I use to record YouTube and stream once in a while still. And yes, the setup was intact for the tail end of my streaming career on Twitch, if you will. There we have my big Shining Force custom mousepad. There's Razy's ashes. He's always with us, people. He's always with us. If you guys watched my streams a few years ago, he was a big part of it. So, always got him by my side. Over here, we have more consoles. Not everything's hooked up, by the way. As you can see, like my N64 is not hooked up currently. That is an HDMI modded N64, by the way. Over here we have various trinkets, mostly Nintendo related, like amiibos, DS, 3DS. The bookshelf in the back has a lot of boxes, mostly empty boxes and computer games. You saw Lunar and F-Zero there. That's where I put my currently playing games, just to kind of keep it on display. Anyway, let's take a look here at my DS stuff. Not a big collection whatsoever. The one game that doesn't have the box is one of the Pokemon games. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. As you can see, I did go pretty hard with amiibos for a little while. I pulled out of that many years ago, though. Here's my 3DS collection. I loved the 3DS. It was a wonderful console. I played it a lot for a few years. I haven't really played it much since, to be honest with you. I'd like to get back into it someday. Here's my paltry Dreamcast collection. Those are some loose Dreamcast games. There's Urkel. Random stuff, Atari Lynx and Virtual Boy games. In this container, I have stuff for TurboGrafx, which again is a console that I don't typically collect for too much. A lot of stuff is very expensive, and I don't know. I have a flash card for TurboGrafx. That's pretty much what I'll be using. There's a couple games that I like to get, but nothing crazy. And in this case, it is, I believe, all Sony stuff. I think it's PS1 and PS2. It's going to be hard seeing everything in here with very low lighting and the LED lights that are flying off, but I'm trying to give you a glimpse at my collection here. And again, guys, if you want like a more in-depth collection video for certain consoles or whatever, feel free to ask, and I'll try to oblige in future months. I transferred these particular games from a different shelf. So they basically are in alphabetical order, but they start at the bottom. It was just the way the games were. It was easier for me to do it at the time. So instead of starting with A at the top, A starts at the bottom in the first row, etc. So. Also, I apologize for wonky camera work, but, you know, down and dirty stuff here for you guys. Otherwise, dude, I could probably make a fucking, I don't know, probably like a 4 or 5 hour video if I went super in depth with everything. But yeah, the majority of the games in my collection overall, guys, I'd say 15% of it is stuff from my childhood, and then I started collecting retro games again a little bit in high school, but definitely in college. So we're talking like the 2003 to 2007 range is when I was like going real hard. And then I kind of took breaks here and there, on and off, but I never really gave it up. If stuff is in like general jewel cases, I clearly don't have the cases for it, as you saw there towards the end underneath like the Lunar games. Here's my PS2 stuff. Again, not a system that I actively collect for much. Most of this is like holdover stuff that I've had for probably 20 to 15 years. It's a great system, don't get me wrong. I just prefer 8 and 16-bit overall. A couple of decent games in there though, like Kingsfield. What else? I sold some stuff because, like I said, I don't really like collect PS2 that much, and at the time I was selling it for funds to probably buy SNES games. Got a bunch of the Shining games, which is pretty cool. There you saw Shin Megami Tensei. I got the Silent Hills 2, 3, and 4. Black Label Silent Hill 2, because I don't really care about the Born from a Wish scenario. I also have all the Wild Arms games on PS2. I have all the Wild Arms games, actually. But spoiler alert, because one of them I didn't really cover yet. Whip around over here. There you can kind of see my old school setup. When I just want to sit down and enjoy games, that's where I play, typically on the CRT TV. Going over there, you see the cat litter box, WWF Superstars cabinets, and on top of it I got my Elden Ring Collector's Edition. Behind here we have a autograph from Razor Ramon, a couple posters like Baldur's Gate, Mortal Kombat, SNES, so on and so forth. This cabinet does still work, I just don't keep it plugged in because it's like super duper loud. Here I have some Dark Souls figures and miniatures from the board game. Figured I'd put them on display if we're not playing. Here in the 49ers locker, which was given to me by Jimmy A Gaming, pretty much houses random stuff, mostly gaming related, older magazines and guides, and some decent books there at the top from Bitmap Books. But yeah, it's a good little storage bin. This section is not frequented much. It's an older HDTV that used to be in my room. I have the Retron 5 and the Retron 77 hooked up to it, which is an Atari. Here I have various, mostly wireless controllers, a few wired, but mostly wireless. And then moving on over here, again, this is stuff connected to my CRT TV. Most of these consoles are RGB SCART enabled. Only a few of them are just like standard, like composite. I have a RetroTink and the picture looks great. You might not see it as well here, but scan lines look wonderful, very, very sharp and vibrant, especially my SNES and my Sega Genesis. Down below, various controllers for these systems, including a fight stick for the SNES, which is pretty cool. Got my twin Famicom there and my Sega Sports Black Dreamcast Edition. Thank you, Harvey. Over here we have the Intellivision with the IntelliVoice, not hooked up. Neither is my Commodore 64, but it works. It's over here. I also have an Atari 2600. It's a little wonky, but it does still work. And then my AV modded top loader NES, which has the power pack in it. And here you see my shelving unit for various strategy guides and Nintendo powers. I was doing alphabetical order, but honestly, it got so rough. There's a pretty cool, that's like a Shining Force strategy guide that came in a video game magazine. I tracked that down, that was awesome. But you can probably see it's not in alphabetical order. I was trying to alphabetize stuff at least just by letter, and I did do it for a while, but then eventually it became too difficult to put things on the shelves. That was the thought that I couldn't finish earlier. So I just start stacking them where I can. But for the most part, it's kind of, sort of, in alphabetical order, so if you need to know where something is, you could typically find the general area for it. Lots of RPG strategy guides, clearly, because they're great, you know? RPGs can get confusing, and it's always good to be a completionist. And here are my more vintage Nintendo powers. I have a few of the more modern ones, if you will, but this is my Perler bead wall. I made most of these. I think there's only 2 or 3 that I did not make there. And another Nintendo Power wall, that was my goal. We got some custom posters here that I had made many years ago for Shining Force. These are all authentic from SNES games. Yes, those are the authentic Chrono Trigger posters that come with the game that are very expensive. I decided to not keep them in the boxes, and I decided to frame them because, you know, they're worthy of display. There you see, or saw, various action figures and starting lineups. Taking a little bit more of a faraway view here. We have more authentic SNES posters / maps for various games. Decided again to put them on display rather than to just keep them hidden away. Now I believe we're going to get into the meat of the collection as we look at some more stuff underneath it. Basically, I organized tons of hefty tubs for controllers for each system and various wires and computer stuff. And here is my wall of Nintendo, which is, as you can see, loose Nintendo games as well as many complete. And then to the right we have the SNES stuff and Game Boy Color, Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. Over here is Sega. We have Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, and Game Gear stuff on display. But let's take a look at the NES stuff. Now I'm pretty sure I did a video for this a while ago, but obviously I have added something since and rearranged a little bit. Again, if you guys want more in-depth stuff or you have questions, feel free to ask, I will answer. These are like custom plastic container things that I got on eBay. I think I got everything from Keep 'em Minty. Pretty sure I did. They're great, you know, they keep everything under control. I have the some authentic, but a lot of custom dust sleeves that store the instruction manuals as well. Off to the sides, you'll probably see my NECA figures, which are part of the video game series, aside from Razor Ramon, who's over here. Or that's, excuse me, that's Scott Hall. My Razor Ramon figure is elsewhere. But yeah, NES is definitely in my top 3 consoles. I'd say it's 3 or 2. I don't know which one. You have to catch me on a certain day and I'll give you a certain answer. But I love the NES. I have a short list, well, not really a short list, but probably a list of about maybe 20 to 30 more games that I want. Some of them I want complete, and then I have probably like 10 to 15 more games that I just need the boxes for that I'll get over time, because I do love complete and box collecting, even though it's a bit pricey. But, you know, it's a really great, authentic experience, and I love doing unboxings and just seeing everything that the game had to offer. Working our way through the S's here. Yeah, you saw Tombs and Treasure there in the T's. That is one I've been trying to get the box for, and I regret I was sleeping on an auction a while ago, and now I can't seem to find one in good shape, and the only ones that are in good shape are really expensive, and I'm not about that life. Let's heading down here, finishing off the loose stuff. Now getting into the boxed games. Well, I would say probably 90% of these are complete. There's a few of them that don't have the manuals. Again, if you guys have any questions, let me know. A big chunk of these I actually got in that ginormous lot that I got back in July of 2021. A few of them are, you know, repros. Final Fantasy 2 and 3 obviously never came out in English, but I got, you know, translated copies that comes with, you know, manuals and maps. I love that stuff, dude. If a game didn't come out in America and it got translated and it's an RPG, like there you saw Mother, Earthbound 1, if you will, and you make it a nice package, I'm all in. You know, I love manuals and maps and stickers and posters and, like, you know, just jazz it up, man. Such as Sweet Home, that's another one. Super Mario Bros. 3 Mix, that's just a ROM hack. But everything's authentic, guys. The only stuff that's not authentic is, you know, stuff that never came out in America, basically. Alright, moving on to more Nintendo stuff. We have my SNES collection as well as Game Boy. Again, bear with any of the shaky camera work. I'm gonna do what I can. Taking a look at the loose cartridges. Again, you'll probably see some, you know, games here and there that you might be like, what? And yeah, like Brutal Mario World. That is a ROM hack to be very, very difficult. But if it is a game that was released in NTSC America, it is authentic. It's a Feta Emblem of Justice, you know, Front Mission, Gun Hazard. Those are all translated games that I got on cartridge a while ago. Getting a lot of glare here, and I do apologize, but trying my best for you guys to see what I got. And I don't know if I really covered it, but you know, aside from the time frame of collecting, most of these games were acquired from eBay, Amazon, Mercari, garage sales, flea markets, Craigslist, anything you could think of over the last 15 to 20 years. A lot of my NES collection, the loose stuff actually, was acquired from an indoor flea market that I would go to almost weekly. They had a 4 for $10 deal, those were the days, and I would go almost every week, like especially in the fall, and it was good times. But yeah, for anybody that knows me, SNES is my favorite console by far. It was the one that I resonated with and played the most as a child, and I feel like it holds up the best these days. Those are 2 RPGs that I'm awaiting to get the box and manual for eventually. And now let's get down into my complete collection. Lots of RPGs, guys. I love me some RPGs and action RPGs. I also love me some Addams Family, as you can see. Random games like American Tail 5 Goes West is one that I had as a kid and kept the entire time, and it's actually very expensive now, which is crazy. There you can see Chrono Trigger Flames of Eternity. That is a reproduction, ROM hack. And specifically here, Earthbound, for those of you that know, Earthbound came in a gigantic box with a strategy guide in America. That is a reproduction PAL box that came with a reproduction map and manual, because I don't have the oversized box. Same with Gunman's Proof there. Same seller, I believe, on Etsy. I figured I would box it up and give it some paperwork. But yes, the Earthbound cartridge is authentic, and I got it for a wonderful price. Back there you saw the Super Game Boy 2 tucked away. Continuing on here with more complete in box SNES stuff. Lots of bangers. Ogre Battle, probably one of my most expensive games in my collection. For sure. Secret of Mana 2 is another reproduction. Obviously that never came out in America until way later. Soul Blazer, one of my favorites for sure. Some of these boxes are for display only. Super Mario RPG was one. F-Zero is another. Terranigma is a game also that didn't come out in America, but I have a reproduction box, manual, blah 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 blah. Super cool. Wolfenstein 3D, we got Jirachi over here, and in the back we have my regular Super Game Boy, and I think another repro, like the Fireman or something. And down here we got Zelda. I put Zelda with the Z's, I don't care. I know it's an L, but whatever. Alright, getting into Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I think these are all complete in box, aside from maybe 1 or 2 games that are missing the manual. Lots of cool stuff here. And now we're getting into Game Boy Advance. Same for that. Probably a few more of these games don't have the manuals, but the RPGs and stuff are all complete. I got a bunch of Lord of the Rings stuff recently. The one Fire Emblem game didn't come out in America. The other 2 are authentic and complete. And here we have a mountain of Game Boy games. There's really no good way to display those, so just kind of got them there. The question mark block has Game Boy Advance games in it. And now let's get over to Sega. You can see the 1,000-foot overview, if you will, of the collection. Same story here. I'd say about 90% of these are complete. Some of them are missing the manual. Again, any questions, please just ask in the comments, and I will do my best to answer. There I got the Ragna Senti, which is Crusader of Senti Japanese version. If anybody knows Crusader of Senti, it's a very good game, but it is a $1,000+ game in the box. Crazy stuff. So I do not have that one. Do not have that one, unfortunately. Off to the side, I have my Shining games, because the Shining series is my favorite series of RPGs, and probably just games in general. Either that or modern From Software. One or the other. Lots of sports stuff, as you could probably expect. Some of the games are really good, though. NHL 94 is great, PGA Tour Golf is great, so on and so forth. Don't overlook them, I'm telling you. And there is possibly my favorite game of all time. It's either that or Dark Souls. Or Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 4. I don't know. One of those 4 games is my favorite. I like the game so much, I got the Japanese ones, as you saw there, because actually they come with a lot of cool stuff. Interesting artwork inside the manuals, and they also come with maps, which is really cool. Don't get that stuff here in America. Also, it's full color, where the American manual is in black and white, which is annoying. That is a various autographed copy of NHL 94, which is probably my favorite sports game of all time, either that or Tecmo Super Bowl on the NES. I didn't mention earlier that my copy of Tecmo Super Bowl on the NES is also autographed by Stephen Baker and Sean Landetta, I believe, who were on the Giants in that game. Not a Giants fan, by the way. You'll see that later. Here are my loose games. Some good stuff in here. I'd love to get boxes for a lot of these at some point, but Sega's not really like the top of my collecting sphere. I'm trying to focus more on SNES and NES, and honestly GameCube at this point. So we'll see, maybe someday. Although I definitely don't have enough room for in the current state of all this for all those boxes. I'd have to maneuver some other stuff. There's Authentic Shining Force 3 and Shining Force Gaiden on the Game Gear. That one never came out in America, but it was remade on Shining Force CD. And back there you see my Game Gear games hidden away because there's really nothing I could do. Much like the Game Boy games, they don't have end labels. Not great to display, so I just kind of got them there. Some Tales from the Crypt Keeper, the animated show action figures. That's a Mario Lemieux puck, by the way, for Mario Lemieux Hockey on Sega Genesis. Very interesting, right? Saturn stuff. Got some good games here. Saturn is a very expensive system to collect for. Lots of bangers in here, of course, but not the top bangers. I don't have Panzer Dragoon Saga or anything like that. But good enough. Got all the Shining games, so I'm happy. Same goes for Sega CD. I'd say it's a slight step down in general, value-wise, but still some very expensive and good games on the Sega CD as well. Recently got Vi, which is pretty cool, and off to the side, Shining Force CD, which we played through last year for the first time. Really enjoyed it. Got that for a good price 2 years ago. Very happy about that. Alright, it's about time to go into the back room soon when I get done just kind of scanning over the area. And here we are. Not much gaming actually goes down back here, to be honest with you. It's mostly just chilling, watching football and movies and stuff, but obviously I still have some gaming setups going on. Some stuff is a little under construction, but like for example, I'm upgrading my TV soon, and I kind of swapped around some of the stuff that you see there, actually today, as of the day of me doing this voiceover, but lots of DVDs over here, DVD sets, Tales from the Crypt, Dragon Ball Z, bunch of good stuff. Have my DVD VHS combo, SNES Classic Mini, whatever the hell it's called, the Wii U, the PS3. Up here we got there's my Wii U controller, Hobbit VHS, little thing that my wife got me for Razy, thing that my job got me for Razy. Picture I drew of my grandfather, picture of me gaming in the same basement with my grandmother there. And as you can see, I'm a 49ers fan. So even though I got lots of autographs from the Giants, I am not a Giants fan. Here we have some records. The top one there was Martin, which is one of my favorite George Romero movies. Got that custom Batman poster from the Mahoning Drive-In. Creepshow, another great movie. And then just general cool horror stuff. This is a reproduction. Got that in a reproduction copy where somebody transferred Shining Force Gaiden 3 Final Conflict from Game Gear to Master System, and that was part of the deal, so I just hung it up on the wall. Here's a bunch of import stuff, Famicom, Super Famicom, Famicom Disk System. We're not going to go super in-depth in here. This is mostly stuff I just had no room to actually display, so I put them in this big chest here. Bunch of Wii stuff. Wii U as well. Poor Wii U, man. Got tossed to the side and everything got remade for the Switch. My paltry PS3 collection, I'm not much of a PS3 guy. Pretty much just got it, to be honest with you, to play Demon's Souls. So. Down here we have PS4, PS5, and Xbox 360 in one. I'm overflowing here, as you can see, so I had to stack Skyrim on top of all this. Doing what I can. Thought about selling most of my 360 stuff, but honestly there's a lot of great games there and I kind of just want to keep them just for the sake of keeping them. My Xbox One collection is mostly Resident Evil and Dark Souls. Shocker, right? We have some overflow there of Super Famicom, just because I had to fit it there. And in here we have my Sega Master System drawer Thankfully, I only have like 3 or 4 games on my Master System list that I actually want to collect. One of them's a banger, Golden Axe Warrior, but the other ones are pretty cheap. So I should have enough room. I gotta see when we go through here if I'm gonna have enough room to fit the stuff in, or I'll have to make more room. Most of this stuff I actually got from lots on Craigslist, believe it or not. So this was probably close to 10 years ago. There's the aforementioned repro of Shining Force Guide and Final Conflict. Yeah, I have enough room to probably fit 3 more in there, I think, but I had to move the loose carts. Down here is my Super Famicom boxed and complete in box collection. I had to make do with the room, as you can see. There's stuff stacked underneath. There's probably, I don't even know, maybe 60 games? I don't know. In these drawers we have various controllers for systems. I tried to at least keep it by brand. This one doesn't open up, unfortunately, so if I need to actually get to it, I have to move my one shelving unit, which is kind of annoying. But, you know, when you start kind of overflowing with stuff, and I didn't want to get rid of furniture. The furniture that all those games were in is, like, really old school, authentic from the house, from my great-grandparents, I think. Didn't want to get rid of that, so. Not logistically sound, but we work with it. Up here, I believe these are bat display boxes. I bought them from Alpha's Back / Harvey. And they work perfectly for random figure Funko and Amiibo displays. Some more posters. Funko stuff. A lot of those are from me, but a lot of them are from Harvey as well. Thank you, Harvey. More posters and autographs. We got Colt Noir, Flava Flav, Doug Bradley, the guy that played Pinhead and Hellraiser. Got my 2 CRTs over here. One's a VCR combo. The one is a DVD combo, but the DVD doesn't work, unfortunately. Got more systems, SNES, GameCube, NES, PS1, and Intellivision Model 2. Pretty cool. We have some more Amiibos here, as well as my VHS collection, which I don't actively collect for. Kind of just acquired these. I collected on and off for maybe a few months, and I had a lot of them to begin with. Down all the way on the bottom, box and television. Various boxes for things there, including a Commando Arnold Schwarzenegger figure. Some Halo bookends, a Halloween poster, random stuff for sports, hockey pucks, you know. I'm a Rangers, Blue Jays, Raptors, and 49ers fan, so take it as you will. Family's from Canada, if you're wondering, and I'm originally born in Canada, so that explains the Canadian teams. These drawers primarily just have manuals and wires and controllers. And then going over here, we have my 4K Blu-rays, as well as my regular Blu-rays, and then my DVD collection. But got really hard into 4K during Black Friday, I tell you what. There were some insane deals, like we're talking like $5 to $10 for 4K Blu-ray combo packs and stuff. But anyway, here are my Blu-rays. I just kind of recently started really getting into this. I love collecting just classic movies and obscure movies. So, all right. I think we're about wrapping up, other than this section, which is pretty important. More starting lineups from the Tecmo Super Bowl era. Pretty cool. Here's my GameCube collection. Love the GameCube. This was also a very popular system with me growing up. It was the first one that I owned, I believe, out of the Xbox and PS2. I ended up getting an Xbox shortly thereafter, but got lots of love for the GameCube. I even have a Japanese GameCube. Got Wario there. Massive, well, not massive, but it's a pretty big Switch collection. The reason is my daughter loves the Switch, so, and I'm a video game collector, so I have no problem constantly buying her stuff. Most of these games are out of the case and upstairs in other cases, but I have all the boxes down here. I collected original Xbox for like literally 3 months back in 2016. Since then, I haven't actively collected for it whatsoever. Solid system though. A very small, paltry PSP collection. Here's my N64 collection, which I've been on an N64 journey. I used to have a big collection, sold it off to get my N64 modded in a flash cart. And then I started sort of collecting for it again. I got a bunch of stuff from that gigantic lot from July of last year. And then Harvey, in a basement haul, as you guys probably saw the video if you've been watching my channel, inherited a lot of other stuff too. Almost all of these box games are from that gigantic July haul that I keep referencing. We got the Nagano collection over here. Harvey Spectacular. We have every version, the Japanese, the PAL, and the American. Here's my Atari collection. Mostly stuff out of the box, obviously. The Halloween's not real, by the way. I think that's like the only game that's in my collection that's not real. I bought an Atari 7800 on eBay, and it came with that. And I just figured I'm not gonna throw it away. But that one's not real. Halloween is very expensive. The PORN games, I don't want to get flagged, and the horror games on Atari 2600 are very expensive. And we're wrapping up here with 7800 and 5200. I love the 7800, by the way. Low-key, like one of my guilty pleasure systems. Not the best, but it's a lot of fun. Well, that's about it, guys. That's pretty much everything I got to show you down in the basement. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, obviously make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And maybe in a few more years, if I make some more changes, we'll do another tour. But for now, this should get the point across. For those of you that were wanting it, hopefully you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you with more content on the channel. Stay tuned. And take care.